All right, phenomenal morning, guys. What is up? This is Breakfast with the Brand. I am your host, Junior Ray Frederick, and you are now tuned into the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. If you are now tuning in live, I need you to do two things. Number one, put some flames in the chat. Number two, let us know where you're listening in from. Today we have a phenomenal show for you. It's going to be a little different. I have a different special guest with me this morning. But before I bring him out, I want to send a quick shout out to all of our people listening live. I see we have Jackie Thompson. So Jackie, phenomenal morning to you. Definitely put some flags in the chat. All right. So check this out. Today we're gonna have a very interesting Q&A. Right. So I need you guys to really this is gonna be different. So really focus. We're gonna be dropping a lot of gems. Definitely have all of your writing instruments, all of your pens, all of your papers, because it's going to be absolutely fire. I see Michelle D. Clark listening from Detroit. Shout out to Detroit. Shout out to Michelle. Phenomenal morning. So, my guest this morning is none other than the phenomenal Mr. B. Mr. B, what's up, brother? How you doing? Let's see. There we go. Oh, okay.
Right. I am phenomenal. I am phenomenal as well. Thank you, brother.
So
Thank
you look phenomenal, brother.
I try.
Yes, sir.
Definitely try.
Yes, sir. Now, before we get into it, guys, the last time Mr. B and I did breakfast with the brand, it was absolutely amazing. Definitely amazing. So I see we have some more people. I see Jackie Gilchrist. Shout out to you. I see we have LinkedIn. Carl from LinkedIn, tuning in from New York, Nassau.
Right.
Definitely shout out to you. So, guys, today I'm gonna be switching switching roles. So I'll be in the what how would you call it, Mr. B? In the interviewee chair? Is that's the way you refer
We'll
to
go with that. Yeah.
it? All
We'll
right.
go with that.
And the reason being is Mr. Rais is on a special mission. You know, Shan is always up to something. I don't know where he is. Last time I saw some pictures of him speaking on the the 10X stage. So Shan,
Right.
Shan is always up to something, but he is definitely on a mission. He wish he could be here this morning, but you have to do what you have to do. And to all of our clients looking, he's on a mission to make this brand even bigger, better, and even more phenomenal for every single one of you. So from Shan to you, a phenomenal good morning, and let's have some fun. So what's up, Mr. B? How you doing?
I'm great, man. It's Saturday. We're here. We're doing our thing. Normally I'm always in the background, so it's kind of different to kind of be on camera this morning. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm excited.
Yes, sir.
Big shout out to Sean for doing his thing, Dr. Rais, being back on the stage again, speaking and influencing and empowering people around the country, around the world. So I'm really excited for that. When I saw the pictures, I was like, come on.
That's right. That's right. You
Let's
already.
go. This is what we're talking about, right? This
That's
is what
right.
we're talking about. Of course, with us being currently in speaking like a leader, and to now see him doing it, and being back among, doing it live. So,
Right.
just big shout outs to him this morning, wherever he may be.
That's right. That's right. So to all the people in speaking like a leader, we've gone over your core signature story, your core brand story. Trust me, that is exactly. So he's actually putting that into play on that 10X stage. So it's a phenomenal thing to see. It's a phenomenal thing to see somebody teaching you something, right? A mentor, a teacher teaching you the ropes with something and them actually using it themselves, right? So you practice what you preach. So that is really a phenomenal thing to see. Definitely, brother. So um,
Definitely.
I want to say shout out to Deborah. So shout out to you. I see Jackie. All right, guys. So Mr. B, I mean, I'm here, brother. You're in the you're in control of the show. I'm just here. I'm just chilling, right? So I'll
Right.
pass the mic to you, brother.
So this morning, like, okay, as everybody already knows, like Junior is absolutely amazing and phenomenal. Um, he is stellar at what he does. So, this morning we just want to have a little Q&A conversation and talk about copy and marketing. Like, if you don't know Junior Frederick is the guy for the doctor of of copy. Um, I mean, just with him being a part of the team and us working together, like learning from him and understanding like just the nuances that go into copywriting, like this guys is great. So we just kind of wanted to talk about that. I think he's been able to definitely help a lot of people in the community with copy. And then those who are tuning in right now, if you don't know what copy is, this is definitely a great episode to tune in and to hear and to learn. So definitely you should have your pen and paper ready and get questions ready. Like if you want to really know, if you know what copy is and you haven't mastered it, or you are really want to seek deeper insight on it, like this is the episode, this is the moment. You in the right place at the right time to talk to the most equipped person. So let's just dive right in. Junior, so tell us, like, what is copy?
I have to come a little closer. Hold on. Come a little
What
closer.
is copy? For those who are like, what is that? What is copy?
Copy, it's so funny, Mr. B. Now, most of you know I'm just a young man from the islands who has overcome many things in order to do something great. Right? I grew up in the eastern part of the Caribbean in a small island called St. Lucia, and you don't have to be a genius to know. Lots of sea, sand, and sun, not a lot of opportunities. Copy was actually one of the keys that opened the many doors for me. And it's so funny. When I stumbled upon copy, I didn't know what it was. I got my start working as an HVAC technician, and then I worked my way up to becoming the COO of this brand. But before this, I actually started doing social media marketing. Right. So a little about my story. When I got started, I took a blank sheet of paper. So guys, write this down. I took a blank sheet of paper and I wrote down, how do I build a social media marketing agency? That's what I wanted to do at the time. Social media was really just becoming a big thing, the Facebook ads and all of that. So I'm like, okay, let me dive into this. How do I do this? I wrote down three things. I wrote down, in order to accomplish or in order to build a successful social media marketing agency, three things. Number one, I need to be able to analyze data. Number two, I need to be able to create content. And number three, I need to be able to write the ads. So, Mr. B, I was terrible at content creation. As you may know, I that's why Mr. B is doing the video and I'm not doing the videos because that's not my thing. So I like scratch the videos. I didn't have any data to analyze. So I look at the third option, which was to write the ad. I did a little research and I stumbled upon what's called copywriting. Copywriting. What is that about? Basically, the gist of it is you write and people buy. So write that down. You write, people buy. Copywriting is what is called salesmanship in print. So I want you to think about sales. When you think about the typical salesperson, the typical closer salesperson, they sell one to one. So if I'm trying to sell Mr. B something, I'm talking to Mr. B on a big DC, I'm talking to him on over the phone, right? So copy, copy allows you to sell one to many because when I write a letter, I could send it to Mr. B. I could send it to Tracy. Shout out to you. I could send it to Jackie, Michelle. I could send it to Deborah. I could send it to multiple people. I could send it to a million people at the same time. Those million people are all having the same conversation in their minds. They're speaking to me, but I'm speaking to them through the copy, and I'm closing them through my words. Copywriting is salesmanship in print. And just to make it more real, most people don't realize copywriting is everywhere, Mr. B. I mean,
It
everywhere.
is. It is.
I'll give you a joke. right? To show you where our copywriting is everywhere. I went to the store the other day and I wanted to buy a box of juice, just a regular box of juice. So I sifted through the options. Now, me, I'm conscious of like my sugar intake, so I don't take in a lot of sugar. Try to make sure that stuff is in check. But then I reached for the one that said no sugar added. How many of you have come across? I've come across a box of juice or anything that said no sugar added. Put a number one in the chat if you've come across that before. I said, okay, I'm looking for something that doesn't have a lot of sugar, no sugar added. I grabbed that one. I bought it. And then I came back for a second time and I said, hold on, no sugar added. So I flipped the box, right? I flipped the box and I read the contents of it. And then I grabbed another box and I read the content of it. The one that didn't have the no sugar added, the one with the no sugar added had more sugar than the other one that didn't have it. So they got me. I like, wow, these guys are really good. They got me. So why did they get me? They get me because my mindset was I didn't want sugar on the copy, the text on a box of juice said no sugar added. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this to prove the point that copywriting is everywhere. When you drive to a McDonald's and you pull up to the sign, the words on the sign, the way that they are formulated, the way that they formulate the price, this is copy. When you are scrolling or driving through the aisle, like moving through the aisles with the carts and you're reading the different symbols on the boxes, it's copy. When you go on the internet, it's copy. When you about to check out in Stripe, it's copy. Everything is copy, Mr. B. Copy is even, and I was telling you this right before the show, even TV shows hire copywriters to write their scripts. Even TV shows hire copywriters to write their scripts. So copywriting is communication in a way that closes. It's salesmanship in print.
That's good. I'm glad you set that up. You set that up very, very well to get everyone the idea or to give them a solid foundation for what's to come and what you're building upon. So copy is everywhere. Copy is all around us every day. So it makes a lot of sense, and especially a lot of sense for me, especially coming from a very creative media production background. Like writing is the foundation of anything. Like it has to be written well. So I understand that, but I know that there's just with copy, it's a little more intense, a little more a different structure and maybe even strategy behind that. So you guys listen, we want to talk more with Frederick Jr. this morning on copy and marketing. But before we do, we want to take a quick break, you guys, and get some of our sponsors in and just give us a quick break, and then we will be right back. How about that? All right, we are back. Good morning. Good morning to everyone that's tuning in. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brand. It is Junior and I this morning. We're doing just something a little different, something a little out the box, but we're here. We're normally here anyway, all together. But on this day, I'm on camera today. So anyway, we're talking with Junior Frederick, and we are talking about copy and marketing this morning. So if you don't know, Junior Frederick is the amazing copywriter, right? He does all the copy for the brand. And so this morning, we just want to, we're just talking with him. We're just having a conversation and a wonderful Q&A. So also, if you have questions, get them ready. If you want to know about copy, if you want to know how to take your copy to the next level, if you're trying to update your website, or all your social media. You can even ask some questions about social media agency and what to do in this space, since he's already kind of put it out there. But we're just talking about copy and marketing this morning with Junior Frederick, and this is the brand standing in for Shaan while he's away. And so, Junior,
Yes,
can
sir.
you tell us, as it relates to copy, and I know that you're an avid reader and you're constantly researching and looking at different things. What are most people missing when it comes to their copy? What are they missing when you read it, or you review people's like content pages and websites and things?
Wow, that is a phenomenal question, Mr. B. And I want to make sure I give everybody a phenomenal answer. Guys, if you're now tuning in, welcome, good morning. I see a question in the chat from Giselle. We'll get to that question
Giselle.
afterwards. So this is the thing. All right. Most people believe copywriting is writing. It's not writing. It is writing, but at the same time, it's not just writing. As a copywriter, you wear many hats at the same time. So, for example, the first step of copy, the first hat that you wear is you're a researcher. So, I'm not a writer. As a copywriter, I'm not a writer. You could write something, it sounds phenomenal, but it doesn't convert. So I see most people missing three things. Number one is the research. You are a researcher as a copywriter. That's the first thing. So you have to know exactly who it is that you're speaking to. You have to know how that person thinks. You have to know how that person makes a decision. You have to know about your market. So research is the first step. Most people just write before researching. I would say research is 80% of the work, if not more. Writing is the easy part. Finding the research is the most difficult part. Doing that research and finding those facts. For example, learning the pain points of your ideal client, learning their desires, learning what keeps them up at night. So what keeps that person up at night? Um, what is the conversation that they're already having in their minds? How can you enter that conversation? Who is the primary decision maker? How does that person feel right now? What is the perfect time to approach that person? Where is that person? When should you approach that person? In what form should you approach that person? It comes down to research. You have to do a lot of research. The second thing that I see missing is the psychology, right? So the psychology of sales, the psychology of marketing. So copywriting, which is not marketing, like a lot of people think, it comes down to psychology. So I'll give you a very short story just to illustrate a point. So if you know a lot of people that have a lot of men, they have and women, they have horses, right? If you know about anything about horse racing or people who collect horses, it's almost like collecting cars or collecting other valuable items, right? Items that they absolutely love. So check this out. So when people go to a horse race, let's say a guy is married, right, Mr. B? Let's say a guy is married. Um, he he's going to a horse race. He says in fact, the wife says to him, we'll just use John. Hey, John, whatever you do, don't come back with another horse. Do not, if you go to the horse racing, do not come back. We do not need another horse, John. John says, okay, I'm just going to chill with Jason at the horse race, right? John goes to the horse race. He has fun, drinks a couple beers, comes back with a horse. John cannot hide a horse. So what does John do? Check this out. A lot of jewelry store owners position their shops at horse racing events because the men who go there who buy horses, they have to go home with the horse, and they, because they cannot hide the horse, they tend to buy jewelry for their wives because they know when they get home the wife is not going to be too happy, right? So it's all
Right,
about
right,
psychology. And check this out. When they put the jewelry stores in the spaces where they have the horse racing events, they always raise their prices because the need is greater at that point. When you take a product, you could take a product to a different place and get higher, a higher return on that investment. Same product, different location, you can make more money. So you have to understand the psychology. Another example, most people believe that when somebody sees something on social media, if you're posting on social media right now, you're posting content, most people believe that when somebody comes across their post, they just read the post. They read it in a linear form. For example, they read it like A, B, C, D. That's not the way people read. You have two types of readers. You have people who are analytical readers, and then you have people who are very sporadic, very quick decision makers. You have to be able to cater for both of those people when you write. So you write in a way they read. For example, first thing the person sees is the post itself, the actual photo or video. If the video captures their attention, then they look at the headline. They click see more, they scan through your post. If you have interesting points that call to their attention, then they go back and read through your post. That's psychology, right? That's psychology. So they don't read in a linear fashion. Now, you being a copywriter, you know in this, you write in a way that follow the pattern, the logical pattern in their minds. You understand what I'm saying? So put it this way, Mr. B. If you ever gone fishing, you know some fishes follow a particular pattern, like they
right,
move in a particular way,
right. They do.
right? They move in a particular way. It may not always be a linear fashion. So what you do is you position yourself so based on the way that they move, they come into contact with your bait. So you don't just drop the thing wherever, you put it in a way, you position it in a way so that they come across it naturally and logically. And then the decision to either work with you or to take the next step becomes what we call the next logical decision. If that makes sense. So you want to
Right.
position your solution as the next logical decision. And that's the psychology part of it. The third piece is the strategy. Most people don't have strategy. So, what is the strategy behind your copy? Typical example, if you're doing direct mail, most people they send out one letter doing direct mail. The letter comes back with no results and they wonder like what's going on. The advanced marketers do a series of free pieces of mail. They anticipate no response on the first one, so they prepare the second one, right? Because they already know the first one's not going to get a response. The second one comes after the first one, and then they follow up with a third one. Now, why is this important? If you don't have the strategy for writing, you fail before you start. You've already failed before you even begin because you don't have the right strategy. So if you don't have the research, you don't have the psychology, you don't have the strategy, it's pretty easy to see when you write why your writing may not have the kind of response that you want. So those are the three things that I see missing the most: the research, the psychology, and the strategy.
You know, I'm glad you said that because actually it's funny because I was like, if y'all don't know, he just actually gave you the laid out the process, right, to some degree of what you need to have in order to kind of do copywriting. So he's so smooth. So Junior, can you? So I realized. So you understand? You said research, psychology, and strategy. Those three. That's what I gathered in there. So research, psychology, and strategy. So tell them, like, what does that process, kind of your process, look like when you're preparing copy, and to bring that all together, you know.
Interesting, 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 interesting. So everybody needs to have their own writing process. My process may be different from yours. So some copywriters they do what's called circling the table. So for example, they do their research. It might be from old books, it might be from newspapers, it might be from different sources, but they gather all of the information. They lay it out on this long table, right? They circle the table, they go around the table, they remove the pieces that don't serve them, the pieces that they're not going to use, and then they're usually left with the magic thing. Let me talk about that.
Talk
The
about it.
magic thing, right, is the thing that sells the thing. Guys, now, Mr. B, I want to make sure that the audience is following us. Guys, if you follow, put a number one in the chat if you follow what we're saying and if you're finding value.
Yes, yes.
By the way, if you do have questions, I saw that Giselle had a question. We're going to get to that after that. But if you follow what we're saying, if this is interesting to you, put a number one or put some flames in the chat. So they do what's called circling the table. So you gather all of the information that you can, and then you begin the process of removing what doesn't serve you. You remove what doesn't serve you, and you are normally left with the thing that sells the thing. You normally left with the thing that sells the thing. The thing that sells the thing is what people really buy. Most people believe that if, let's say, I'm a coach, I'm in the coaching business. No, you're not. So if you're a coach, you're not in the coaching business. If you're a speaker, you're not in the speaking business. If you're whatever, if you could be selling ice cream, you're not in the ice cream business. You're not in the coffee business. You are in the marketing of the thing business. You are in the marketing of coaching business. You are in the marketing of speaking business. You are in the marketing of consulting business. Now, the thing that sells the thing is the reason why copy converts and it doesn't feel salesy. It feels like you're reading a story. And at the end of that story, for some reason, you just feel the inclination to take action. And then you say to yourself, this is interesting. You find yourself taking action, and it's like, why did I even do that? You did that because everybody's looking for that thing that sells the thing. So I'll give you an example. If you're in the coaching, the marketing of coaching business, then what you're selling is confidence and transformation. So you could write whatever you want, but at the end of it, that person is supposed to see a path to confidence and transformation. So, for example, you could say, I could help you do this, I could help you do that, my coaching could do this, my coaching has that. You could list all the features, all of the benefits, but it has to say, at the end of the process, you will be a new person. You will be a new, confident, energetic, ecstatic, elated, happy woman or man. You'll be a better leader at the end of the day. You have to sell them the thing that sells the thing, which is the magic thing. But anyways, I know we have to take a break, Mr. B. We're gonna get into that a little bit more and dive deeper when we come back.
All right. We'll be right back.
Right.
All right, and we are back. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Breakfast with the Brand. Uh, I can't say I'm the host. Junior Frederick is the host, and I happen to be in the opportunity to sit in with him on today and just have a conversation. So again, welcome to Breakfast with the Brand. If you're just joining us, Junior Frederick and I we're talking about copy, and marketing. So again, Junior is our phenomenal copywriter for the brand. If you're just joining us and we're just having a conversation about copy and marketing. So if you have questions for him, this is the best time and the right time to go ahead and throw those questions in the chat. So while we're talking about questions in the chat, let's jump over to Giselle. Giselle had a question this morning, and let's see if we can go ahead and tackle her question. I'll throw this up for us. Just a second. I like what she said here. And she touched on something really
Right.
interesting and very important. And I know that Junior knows a lot about this too.
Yes,
So
sir.
what about SEO? What about SEO? Junior, want to speak to that?
Yes, of course. So, phenomenal morning, Giselle. So, SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. For those who don't know, so and she also said something very important there. She said you can have great copy on your
Hmm.
website, but if it is not optimized for SEO, no one will see it. That's very true. Then, Mr. B, that actually brings me to another very important point. Most people believe that copy is marketing. There's a rumor going around that copy is marketing. Copy is not marketing, right? So just because you have copy on your website, just because you have phenomenal copy on your page or your emails, it is not. It is only one piece of marketing. In order to have marketing, you need to have the three M's. There's something called the three M's of marketing. So everybody write this down: the message, the market, the media. Right? The message, the market, and the media. So the message is the copy. The copy is the message. But you need to also have your market in place. Your market is who it is that you're talking to. So the copy is what you say, the market is the who, the media is the where. Now, once you have these things in place, you need to have traffic. You need to drive traffic to your page, to your website, to your copy. That's what marketing is. So marketing is basically the act of promoting a company's website, products, or services in a way that is measurable, in a way that is predictable, in a way where if I'm spending $1, I'm getting $2 out, or I'm getting $1.50 out. So having a standalone, you know, website is not enough. Now the SEO helps people find the website when they Google stuff that you're talking about. So let's say keywords. I saw somebody put keywords somewhere in the chat. So let's say branding, for example. If you optimize for branding, then they're gonna find your website. So it's like a source. It delivers traffic to the website. So when it comes to websites in particular, you need SEO or it doesn't work. So she's absolutely right. You absolutely need SEO. But it brings about an even greater point, which is copywriting is only one piece of the puzzle. It is not the whole puzzle.
That's a good point. And I definitely I love what you said, the three M's. So like bam, I was like, okay. Julia just dropped the nugget. I'm like, oh, and then too, like, oh, this is gonna be a snippet, an editing point, something I'll probably throw up on YouTube.
Sure.
um, so I'm always listening for different things, but that's good. So, can you dive a little deeper into the difference between copy and marketing? So he just made it clear that copy and marketing are not the same, but however understanding marketing and copy is essential to growing your platform or growing your business, and being able to widen or widen and solidify your media prints, right? in your industry or in your space.
Yes. All right. So I want to put it in a way that is super simple, right? And by the way, you're welcome, Giselle. I want to put it in a way that is very, very simple. When I started learning advertising and marketing, we had a saying, and this is not my saying, this is from the greats. I study people that are a lot greater than I am when it comes to marketing, when it comes to advertising and copy. We treat each piece as a salesperson. So you know how people used to go door to door, they used to like, good day, Jason. I'm selling such and such and such. Or like the Girl Scout, right? I don't know if y'all still do that in the US, like the cookies and stuff. I don't know if
They
that's
sell
still
them
a thing.
they sell them at the store or at the
Okay.
church or something like that. But
But
yeah,
all right. So
mhm,
when people used to go door to door, right,
right.
we treat each piece as a salesperson. So when you look at the piece itself, you say to yourself, if this were a real person standing in front of another person, standing in front of a prospect, would they be convinced to buy? That's the way you judge your copy, right? That's the way you judge your message. So copy is like, it's like getting dressed. It's like having all of the right pieces, having all of the right equipment as a salesperson, getting ready to go out. But marketing is actually the act. You understand? Copywriting is a thing. It's a noun. It's a piece. It's an actual thing. Like a piece of copy is, it doesn't move unless you move, right? So I would say copywriting is like a noun, marketing is a verb, right? So when you market something, you're actually doing something. When you build copy, the copy could sit on a shelf and it does nothing for you if you don't market it. So you have to put the copy in motion, right? So that's a really good term, copy in motion. But the copy is not the only thing. And this leads to another point, another gem. Write this down. So when you look at marketing, right, the first thing you see is an image, right, Mr. B? You
Right.
see an image. The image has to speak, it has to complement the copy.
Yes. Yes.
Whether it be a video, it could be a video, it could be an image. It has to complement what you're saying. So people tend to need a visual representation. That's why you see brands, that's why we have flyers. People don't understand. A flyer is communicating a feeling. If you look at Apple, if you look at Nike, when they promote, they don't always have the most words in the promotion, but when you look at the images, you feel something. You understand?
Right.
You feel something when you look at it. That's another level of that's advertising, by the way. That's not marketing. But in your marketing, you move. There's movement of your copy, there's movement of your pieces, there's movement of your your efforts. Like you're making an actual effort. It's an actual verb. You understand? Copy is standalone, but marketing deals with numbers. So marketing is the strategy in motion behind the copy. For example, I have a great piece of copy. How many people did I send it out to? How many people who read the email actually clicked? Out of the people who clicked, how many of them actually buyed? What percentage of them buyed? That number, that accumulation of numbers, that analysis of numbers is what is marketing. Copywriting gives us something to, or part of the things we need to analyze.
It's a lot of a lot to analyze. Especially when you dive deep into to being able to separate marketing versus advertising, right? And understanding the copy. And I love what you said. So, like, even when it goes to us, like working together and how we work together as a team, and images that are taken of Sean, for example, and like we just did a shoot,
Yeah.
and being able to me as a photographer and as a creative person envision like what do I want this image to say when people see it, right? And what do I want Junior to write, or what could he possibly write to this when I do this whole shoot with Sean, or we come up with a strategy, a marketing plan for the next rollout of things, so definitely always thinking like what visuals capture people, what tells the story, what in this image evokes the emotion, and then what words can go with it that matches it, or that will even sometimes supersede it. But we're definitely looking for words that's well scripted or well written to do the job. um can you tell us, so how does one know that their copy is like effective?
Well, Mr. B, it's a result driven world. So if it's getting the result that you want, then it's effective. If it's not, then it's not. If it's not getting the result, then it's not effective. It's not because the words that you've put down on the paper is not effective or it's not good. It's just that it's not effective. So there's a difference between being good and being effective. Effective means that you're getting the result. And you said something there very valuable just a while ago. Like the images before they actually read the words is super, super important. That is super important because, for example, the copywriters will really know what they're doing. Let's say I'm trying to get the attention of a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. What copywriters might do, typical people might try to send an email. A copywriter, a marketer, not a copywriter, a marketer, somebody who understands marketing, they might send a barrel. They might send a barrel, like really like a real barrel. Inside of the barrel might have a person. You know what I'm saying? Inside of the barrel might have a person. When the person comes out, they present the letter. Now, how's that for getting somebody's attention?
That will
You
grab
understand what I'm
them.
saying? That's marketing. That's the strategy behind it. You might get a shock and awe package. It might be a box. On top of the box, it might say, "Do not open." And of course, what do people do? They tend to open. Like, why is this thing telling me do not open? What is in this? Curiosity. They open. A copywriter might attach an image at the top of an email that is of a beautiful beach somewhere in Dubai, right? Somewhere in Dubai on the beautiful beach. And they might say, I've attached this photo to this email for two reasons. Number one is to grab your attention for a minute or two. Number two is to give you an idea of the life that is possible for you once you finish reading this email. Hmm. You see that?
I
So
do.
the picture complements the email, it complements the copy, and
Yes.
together they work in tandem to tell a story and to bring a point across, to capture somebody's attention, to retain their attention, and to move them through a slippery slope that leads them to making a logical decision, which is to buy. Look at that. Look at what Michelle said. She says,
Right.
I'm ready to read that email. Exactly. I just said it like, hey, Michelle. Like, it I literally say, hey, Michelle. As you could see, it might be something weird. It might be, I know copywriters that have sent, for example, they sent, back when they used to do direct mail, they attach free pennies inside the letter. So when you open the letter, it has free pennies attached. Like, what is this? Or it might have a dollar bill or $100 bill attached. Like, wow, somebody sent me $100. Then when you read the email now, it's like, this is only a taste of what you understand. Like, you have to
Right.
put some, you know put some stuff in there. Make it enticing, make it different, and that's how you capture somebody's attention and you move them. Now, when they start reading the copy, it's like a slippery slope. The
Right.
headline, the point of the headline is getting them to read the intro. The point of the intro is getting them to read the next piece. There you go. I've received a penny before in mail. There you go. That was the work of a copywriter doing direct mail. This there you go. So it's really a phenomenal thing. It's an amazing thing once you understand it.
Right. Do you think that people overthink the process of copywriting, or do you think they underthink it maybe because they don't have a process? Like, so I was like, yeah, tell me, do you think people overthink it? Because I know there's a lot to take in, but I think sometimes psychology, or as a person, we could be our own worst enemy within different spaces, especially sometimes I guess when you're trying to grasp something or learn something and then execute on it well. And I realize everybody may not again understand copy, but do you think people overthink it for those who maybe work at it or have put things out there? Or do you maybe think that they hadn't worked hard enough or thought long enough on it?
Bro, I think they definitely underthink it. I think they definitely underthink it. And it's not their fault. It's they just, you just don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know. Like, so let me ask the audience. How many of you have picked up new gems since we started speaking? Put some flames in the chat. If you're on LinkedIn, put some flames in the chat. Facebook, I see you. YouTube, put some flames in the comments. If you've picked up something new based on what we just said, let me know. There you go. So I mean, you don't know what you don't know, right? So I guess realistically, they do underthink it, but at the same time, you can't fault anybody for not knowing what they don't know. So
True.
I'm not,
Very true.
how do I answer that question? Yes and no. Yes, they do underthink it, but no, they don't because they don't have the knowledge to use to think about it. That makes sense.
It does. And you're very right. You don't know what you don't know. And I love that. And that's one of the reasons why I think like it's so necessary to employ the um, experience and the knowledge of others who've been able to master a certain space, like Junior, to be able to kind of have this moment this morning to be able to pick the brains of Junior and ask questions. And as we're talking, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw the questions in the chat. I see the flames is looking great, so people are definitely enjoying the conversation here. But if you have any questions about copy, marketing, or anything else, that's related to your building your brand, because this is what we do on Saturday mornings, breakfast with the brand, and we talk about
So,
brand building and brand strategy in this space. So again, good morning to anyone that's just joining us in this space. We're talking to Junior Frederick. I've had the opportunity to sit in with this brother. I'm normally behind the scenes, but this morning we are doing something a little different, and we're talking with Junior Frederick. This is the brand and talking about copy and marketing. So good morning.
yes, sir. Yeah, phenomenal morning to all of you. Everybody tuning in. I see Giselle still with us. Guys, if you do have questions, no question is out of bounds. The quality of the answer depends on the quality of the question. So if you do have questions, definitely put it in the chat. Mr. B, I feel like we could go a little longer today. You know, I'm I'm just here. I have so many things I want to tell. I'm waiting for somebody to
Sure,
ask me a question. I'm waiting for somebody to
sure.
ask me a question. Yeah. So let's see. Let's keep going, Mr. B. If
So
you do have some
so
more.
what has been the biggest challenge for you surrounding copy as you have once you started learning it? What was like the biggest challenge for you, and what's still the biggest challenge for you now as it relates to copy?
That's a great question, Mr. B. I would say for me, the greatest challenge is, you see, when you are in the position I'm in, it comes with a lot of complexity. Complexity means that there's often not a lot of time to do some. So, for example, if I was only a copywriter, I might go to the beach, order coffee, and just cool out, just chill by the beach, write some coffee, take my time, write some copy. But I do multiple things. So for me, the greatest challenge is finding the time to really sit down and write. Like when I say write, I mean write, to my fullest ability, while also managing the million other things that I'm doing. So that I would say that is my biggest challenge. That is my biggest challenge when it comes to
I,
writing.
do you feel like you've been able to? You feel like every day you're closing that gap?
Um, yes, yes and no. Yes, I am because I'm finding creative ways to get it done. But I would say no because when it comes to research, when it comes to copy and research, it takes what it takes.
Right.
It just takes what, like, you just have to know, what you need to know. And what you really need to know is what we call a unique selling preposition. We need to know that person's desire. So to put some context, to give the audience some context, I want you to think about it. Let's say you're marketing, right, to somebody that you don't know. You're writing a letter to somebody that you've never met, somebody that you've never spoken to, somebody that you don't know, somebody who doesn't know you. You're writing them a letter and you want to make the letter so personal that when they read it, they feel like they've known you their entire life. You want to enter the conversation in their minds, the conversation that they're having at the dinner table when they come from work. Now, I'm in St. Lucia. For those of you who don't know, that is a lovely island, eastern part of the Caribbean. And I may be writing to somebody who is in California, which is basically on the other side of the world. From here, how do I get into that person's mind and write in a way that is persuasive enough to get them to click? Think about that. And then you ask yourself, how could you not do any research before writing? How could you not understand the psychology of that person for writing? When you think about it in that way, it's like a no brainer. Like, how could you not? Not how can you, how could you not? Now, to be able to do that in a way that is super effective, it just takes some time to do some research. And for me, that is the time, that is the biggest challenge for me.
I like that you've been able to be transparent and share that, because I think sometimes, um even as being the professional that you are, and the leader that you are in that space, we realize that all of us, even as professionals, our gurus, are always still working through things. So thank you for even just sharing that transparency in
So,
that. There are a couple of questions here in the chat that are
yes,
on fire. Let's go to Angela. Angela Hill. And she says, should you hire a copywriter or do it yourself? Sometimes it's hard to allow others to write when they don't have your passion for the business. That's a great question, Angela.
I would say if you hire the right copywriter, then you shouldn't have a problem. Because, and thank you for the question, Angela. And the reason I say that is because when you so and Angela, I want some more clarification. When you said that they don't have the passion for your business, what exactly do you mean? So when I hear that, listening from a copywriter's perspective, when you talk about having a passion for your business, I have multiple different things. So I hear, for example, your passion could be, maybe you're a passionate speaker and thus you have a passionate voice. Now in copywriting, the writer has a voice. Now when if I write something on behalf of Shan, nobody would know the difference. Like you don't know if it's Shan speaking or if it's me. If it's Shan writing or if it's me, you don't know the difference. You can't tell because I write in his voice. If I write for somebody else, you wouldn't be able to tell because I write in their voice. So, Angela, could you give me some more clarification? When you say they don't have the passion for your business, could you be more specific? Are you talking about you as a passionate character, or are you talking about the will, like the determination to see your business succeed? So, if you give me some more clarification, then I could answer your question more precisely.
I think that was definitely a good question. I think that it has been interesting. I think the question is interesting because I think we all maybe have experienced having people on board, and sometimes they may not fully understand our vision.
Yes.
Um, may not fully understand the vision in what you're trying to convey, or even, for example, like Sean, we work closely with Sean, and so we understand his even his voice and his the vernacular that he uses to in order to express something, right? Um, and for all of that to come together in one, and for it to sound authentically like the person that you're reading the copy of or listening to, or the influencer that you're following. I don't know if if you understand what I'm saying, that speaking
Right.
to the person being able to understand the job of doing copy, but how closely can they make it sound like your voice, Junior's voice, or the person that they're writing for.
Yeah. I mean, if you're copyrighted, then that's not so tough. That's not a tough
I
thing to.
love it.
It's not tough. It's not as tough as it seems, Mr. B. I mean, everybody. Like, if I was writing for Angela, Angela, I'm pretty sure that she has, and she did respond to me, so we could put that up.
Hmm.
But I'm pretty sure Angela has a list of, let's say, 10 words, 10 to 20 words that she uses all the time, that everybody knows her for using. Maybe there's different intonations in the way that she speaks. So you have intonations, you have commonly used words, you have what else? Everybody has a vernacular. Maybe she has a particular slang. Maybe she's from a certain area in America where the slang is a little different from another part. So you would write like that. And also maybe she's dealing with a particular audience. And this is a great point too. Phenomenal point. Copywriting doesn't require you to write standard English. It doesn't require you to write standard English. It doesn't mean that you write in a grammatically incorrect way, but you write like you speak. It's conversational writing. So you write like you speak. So so Angela, a tip you can use. Let me answer your question. Passionate to get the results you need. Can we bring up a response right there?
Sure. All right.
All right. She said yes to reach the vision, overall vision. Well, the way I would what I would say is you want to hire somebody who's passionate about copy, because if they're passionate about copy, then they'll be passionate about anybody that they write copy for, because they'll take pride in their work, and then they'll give you some good work. That's the best way to go about it, I feel. Because I mean, your business is your vision. Unless that person is part of your team, like on your team, actual team, then they have their own vision. So you want to make sure that they have a passion for what they do. And if they have a passion for what they do, then they will ensure to give you great work. They will ensure to give you great work. Let's see.
Let's see. There is Angela made had a comment.
We mean Giselle.
Giselle, excuse me. Yes, Giselle. She had a. So, what is a healthy budget for hiring a copywriter and marketing? Though I'm in the business of marketing mental health care, I'm a practitioner and not a marketer.
Okay, great. So it depends on what you're hiring them for. If you're hiring copywriter to do a sales page or to do a sales letter, then copywriters, good copywriters typically start at like 5K. It depends on who. It really depends on who's writing for you. You understand? It might be 5K. Some people charge 10K. I know like the highest paid copywriter I know charges 200 and something K for a single sales letter. So, and not to scare you, Giselle, but a healthy budget, the way I would approach it is I would ask myself, what do I need? Um, do I need emails? Do I need a sales letter? I would budget 10K. Yeah, because that really goes into, okay, what do you actually need? What medium are you using? It may not be social media, it may be direct mail, it may be social media, it may be Facebook ads. If you're doing Facebook ads, like guys, literally have a couple of $1,000 to because the ad is gonna have to run for a few months before it optimizes. You understand? So when it comes to marketing, I would say if you have 10K, then you could look into something like that. So yeah, that's a healthy budget. Most agencies now, this is very important. Most agencies, when you hire an agency, you want to make sure that it is actually a marketing agency and not an advertising agency. Let me explain. Advertising and marketing are not the same thing. So advertising is the promotion of a company's products. Marketing is the promotion of the company's products in a way that produces a measurable, sustainable, and trackable result. Right. So I'll use this analogy. Right. Um, for the Super Bowl, they normally have, or I don't know if they still do, but they used to have this Goodyear blimp. You're right, Mr. B? The blimp.
Right.
With
Uh-huh.
The Goodyear symbol on it, right?
Right.
So it flies over during halftime. So that strategy, Goodyear is hoping that if they fly a blimp over the stadium where there's probably I don't know, maybe 50,000, 60,000 people, they see the Goodyear symbol, they're hoping that when those people's tires go bad, they come and find Goodyear for tires. All right? You go into a pothole, you mess up your tire, you go to Goodyear because you saw a blimp at the Super Bowl. All of a sudden, it's all Goodyear, right? That is called advertising. If you really think about it, how many of those people, is there a trackable way to know how many of those people actually who saw the blimp actually came into the shop? There's no way. You can't know. So this means that you don't know if it's working or if it's not. Advertising agencies, it is within their best interest to put out content. They sell content. So the more graphics, so if they produce graphics for you, it's on you now to make the graphics work. If they produce videos for you, it's on you now to make the videos work. So they charge you for content production, but they don't charge you for results. Marketing says, if I put out an ad, I know 10 people came from this ad based off of $1,000 spent, which means the cost of client acquisition is 1,000 divided by 10, which means I'm spending $100 to get a client, to acquire a client. That is marketing. That is not advertising. So if you're looking to hire an agency, make sure it's a marketing agency where they give you a system that is measurable, trackable. Um, you could get trackable results.
That's definitely good to be able to again to kind of know to be able to differentiate between the two,
Yes.
which has to do with your goal or what it is that you're looking to do. So definitely being able to know specifically what you're looking to do is going to help you refine your process and to be able to zero in on either the agency or the person that you need be able, that you would need to be able to hire. This was the second part of Giselle's question. If you want to just take a quick look at that, and she said also, what are some warning signs of a bad copywriter or digital marketer? If I were to hire someone, what should I look for? That's
That's
an excellent question.
yes, it is.
That's
It's
an excellent
phenomenal.
question, Giselle.
That's a really good question. So some warning signs of a bad copywriter. Some warning, like this is what I'll do, Giselle. After they give you the sales pitch and they say, okay, it costs $3,000 to work with me, then you say, okay, phenomenal. What is the first step? If that person doesn't talk about research being their first step, or some kind, like they don't tell you, okay, I'm gonna send you a form to fill out to collect data, that's a red what do you call it, red flag. That's a red flag. If they don't, if the first step in what they're doing is not research, it's a red flag. Now that's for a copywriter. Now a marketer and a copywriter are two different things, two different professions. Now if it's for a marketer, uh, you know recently I spoke to somebody, or they were trying to convince me to let them do marketing for the brand or whatever. And I asked them, okay, they said we're gonna start doing this and that and run traffic to the website. Listen, if somebody's running traffic to your website, like for what reason? Because the website is not a sales page. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, when you have an offer, when you have something that you're selling, you want to run it to what's called an LGM, a lead generation magnet. A lead generation magnet is something that collects somebody's name, email, phone number. Their name, their email, their phone number. So a sign of a bad marketer is a marketer who is running traffic to something that doesn't collect phone, email, or name, phone, and email. Exactly. It doesn't collect name, phone, and email. Because if you don't have those things, how are you going to convert? What are you converting them to? How do you collect the lead? Somebody has to go from being a prospect to a lead to a client. A prospect and a lead is not, they're not the same thing. A prospect is somebody who is a potential lead for your business. A lead is somebody who has consented to give you their information so you could contact them. But if you can't contact somebody, how can you sell them? A bad marketer is able to run traffic to somewhere that just doesn't make sense. Like they might run it to your website. The websites typically they convert, but only when you build your brand to a point where people are now looking for you and you're not looking for them. You understand? A sales page, a landing page, which is a digital sales letter, it allows people to convert. If they're running traffic to a some kind of lead conversion, lead generation mechanism, it could be a masterclass, it could be a free book, it could be a free something, something to collect their information. Then that person most likely knows what they're doing. Another sign of a bad marketer is somebody who wants to start work without knowing who that audience is. Remember, market, message, media. Even if you have the right message, but they don't understand your market, the marketing, when I say your market, meaning your audience, the marketing doesn't work. So you spend money on ads, you spend money on content, and it's talking to the wrong people. You're picking up the wrong kind of fish, right? You're picking up the wrong kind of fish. So those are some signs. Also, another sign, one more sign. Ask them for prior results.
Yes, yes.
Result. Like what have you done in the past? Do you have an example of somebody you've worked with? somebody who could vouch for you and say, "Hey, I worked with X, Y, and Z, and I was able to get this result." Where are your testimonials?
Bam.
Like you need to have at least three people. At least three people needs to say, "Okay, I've worked with this person before, and I could attest that they do some good work." And if they don't have any testimonials, or if they're funny about, if they say something like, "Oh well, I have to get permission to show you this and that," that's normally a sign that they don't know what they're doing.
I'm glad you said that because right when you said testimonials, it was right in my head. I was like, yes, testimonials. So definitely, like going to their sites, and going to other credible sites to be able to see testimonials on their previous clients that they've worked with, and being able to make comparisons, on the content, even if sometimes, if you need to be able to reach out to their references, right? Like if you're hiring somebody, you definitely want to make sure that they're good and they're legit and that you have the right person. So of course, just like anybody else, like when you get a job, they want to say, "Oh, can you give us 3 references?" So of course, you want to be able to also check out their references as well. And if you can speak with them, then that
Yeah.
also validates the person that you're looking to hire. So don't be afraid to do that either.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Do we have any other questions in the chat? Let's see. Guys, if you have any other questions, um, we're still here. All right, we're still here. Couple minutes. So today's the day. All right. So Angela says, "Can you bring that back up, Mr. B?"
Sure. So
Okay.
Angela says, I assume the copywriter has to study the person just as the psychology of sales to produce great copy.
Yes, ma'am. They do. So you have to study your client. So I
Yes.
have to know exactly how does Angela speak. What is her voice? Is she passionate? Is she lively? Is she, I have to know how she speaks so I could write the way that she would speak. I could bring the words to life. So 100%. I see some comments there. Let's bring up some of these comments, man. Tasha says, "Run." All right. Kiana says, "You have to know your audience." Phenomenal morning to you, Kiana. All right. Tasha says, "True." Shout
Tasha
out to Tasha.
still dead.
Yeah, powerhouse.
Powerhouse.
All right, Giselle. So you said, "Okay, thank you very much, Giselle.
Thank you.
Thank you very much." All right, Mr. B. So we'll take one more question. If anybody has it, definitely put it in the chat. If you've enjoyed the show, put some more flames in the chat. If you've enjoyed the show, if you found this information was useful, was very beneficial and enlightening, definitely go ahead and put it in there as well. So, Mr. B, do you have any last questions? Any more questions there, sir? While we
All
wait.
right, I do. So tell them, how can they reach Junior Frederick if they have questions about coffee?
Oh man,
Where how can they find you? How can they reach you? I know we're an exclusive brand over here, but the
right.
knowledge and the information that you have in regards to branding, copy marketing is one of a kind. But just want to be able to say to everyone that's listening, if you're interested in knowing more about copy, definitely I'll let him kind of expound on that in that space.
Well, I mean, thank you very much, Mr. B. You could meet me. You could reach out to me via all social media platforms. If you're viewing this on LinkedIn, you could just send Shan a message.
Yes.
Shan will pass it on to me. I know you may be connected with him, and we may not be connected right now. But also, Mr. B, my email address um, on all platforms on LinkedIn, Facebook, and also on YouTube, just in case anybody needs to reach out to me directly. So you could reach me via email. That is the best way. I always check my emails when I can, and I'll be sure to get back to you within 24 hours. Okay, I think we have one more question there.
All right, let's bring that up. All right, so we have one from Michelle Clark. Where
Yes,
would you suggest a person with no experience get started in learning?
that's a great question. That's a phenomenal question. I would say do your research. I would say study the greats. Study the people who did copy before the internet. So I study marketing before the internet. Like if the internet went down today, I would know how to market because I studied from people who did copy, who did marketing before the internet. Those are the people who really know what they're doing. I want you guys to imagine going to the post office and mailing 1,000 letters or 10,000 letters. It costs money, right? It costs actual money to mail the letters. You pay money. Nowadays, you could just throw up something on Facebook, throw it up on LinkedIn, throw it up on what you call it, Twitter, and what's the other one? TikTok. You could just put something up there, right? But back in the day, you had to pay to play, which means that if you were not good, you lost all of your money. You spent money to send out 10,000 emails and it all went down the drain. The most and the best people to study from are the people who were successful when it actually costed you, when there was a real cost of client acquisition, where it costed you money to actually get your message out there. They took their time to do their research, they took their time to do their writing, and their stuff was it had to be magnetic because if it doesn't work, it all goes down the drain. It's not like a Facebook post where you could put it out, nobody responds, and you go out to dinner, you go to bed like nothing ever happened. You actually lose money. The stakes were a lot higher. So I would say, Michelle, you want to start learning, you want to do some research, and you want to start learning from the greats, the people who did copy before there was an internet. That's where you want to start learning. All right.
And I was going to add to sit at Junior's feet. I said, sit at Junior's feet. Take his class.
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something.
we
We do have marketing like a leader coming up later
do.
during the year.
We do.
So everybody inside the leverage. If you're inside the leadership leverage, then you're definitely gonna be part of marketing like a leader. If you're not inside the leverage and you're interested in marketing like a leader, then you could send me an email. It's gonna be in the next four to 5 months, but you could reserve your spot. Of course, Shan always does early bird discounts on all of the courses. Um, once we begin, right before we begin. So definitely. And of course, if you come inside the leverage, and I mean, you ask me about copy, you say you want to learn copy, then of course I'll teach you what I know about copy, right? So
Right.
definitely.
And then before we go, just touch on what other things we have coming up here in the brand.
Oh yes, yes, guys, listen. I need you to mark your calendars for what is it? It's May 7th, and May 14th. We have a
Yes.
very special guest. We have none other than the queen of courses herself. Listen, this woman, if you don't know who she is, I need you to Google her immediately and expediently after this call. Her name is Danielle Leslie. She's an absolute guru when it comes to courses. She's been in business for, as far as I know, over 10 years, teaching people the art and the science of developing and launching online courses. If you've ever wanted to develop a course, Danielle Leslie is definitely that person. In fact, when we went from crickets to digits, she was actually one of the people who was absolutely instrumental in that process. When we made our transition prior to COVID, everything we did was in person. When we made that transition, Danielle Leslie gave us the the basic outline the psychology, the outline, and the frame of reference that we needed in order to take our stuff to the next level. And if you don't know, in less than 90 days, we were able to amass almost $500,000,
That's
all
true.
from organic marketing,
We were.
no paid
Mhm.
ads. So if you're looking at this right now and you believe you have to pay Facebook to make your stuff work, it doesn't. Trust me, guys. We turn Facebook to a bank book. Let me not say that too loud before what's his name shut us down. But
Right, we'll be in Facebook jail again.
Facebook jail. By the way, guys, I've been in Facebook jail so many times. I'm very comfortable. They know me in Facebook jail, so it's all right. Okay, but yeah. So Daniel Leslie, definitely amazing entrepreneur, multi-millionaire serial entrepreneur. She's gonna be coming on the Breakfast with the Brand May 7th and May 14th. The first segment is gonna be during the $1 million brand challenge during that weekend. If you haven't registered, definitely reach out to me. Put the email one more time, Mr. B, so they can reach out to me. We have an early bird special on the VIP that is only $97. We'll be talking about branding and positioning. We'll be talking about marketing, sales, and systems. So trust me, like we say in the Caribbean, if you miss it, you diss it, and you don't want to diss it. So definitely you want to check that out. Daniel Leslie coming May 7th. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Shan and Daniel Leslie is like what Mr. B, like a hurricane and a typhoon or some lightning and I don't even know, man. Lightning, thunder, hurricane, typhoon, earthquake, and tsunami
Oh,
coming together. Like this
yes,
is really really gonna be big. Trust me,
yes,
you don't want to miss this. If you've missed previous Breakfast with the Brands, set your calendar. May
right.
7th, May 14th. Let's
And
grow.
we've always had, really phenomenal guests every month. You can actually, and so you guys, you can go back on our YouTube, the YouTube channel, and you can actually binge watch Breakfast with the Brand. But we definitely have had some phenomenal guests on the show, and to be able to, we've talked about insurance, and we talked about,
Yes, we
we
have.
just recently had Mr. Cello on the show. So there you can go to our YouTube channel and just binge watch Breakfast with the Brand. There's a lot of great content, a lot of information out there. But again, May 7th, you don't want to miss this special guest, Danielle Leslie, who is the queen of course creation, and so many other things. And as Junior stated, like we've been able to grow the brand from information, from spaces of being able to also utilize other information that has been very useful or progressive for us as an organization.
That's right.
But again, thank you, Junior, for having Mr. B on here with you today. I greatly appreciate sitting in while Sean is out and being able to just have dialogue with you and the phenomenal leaders and everyone that's been in the chat. Thank you for the great questions today. Thank you for joining us because you could have been anywhere else. So we really appreciate you and all of our normal followers who are on this morning. Big shout out to you guys, and also shout out to Tasha and Deshaun, other team members. Just sending them some love. So again, thank you. Junior, do you want to close us out with a closing thought?
A closing thought. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Guys, listen, first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for being here today. And, my closing thought is this: always remember that what you recognize, you energize and magnetize. So make sure that today you begin to recognize the leader, recognize the potential, recognize the things that you hold inside yourself, recognize your confidence, recognize your drive, your potential, your ambition. Recognize a different version of yourself that represents the greatest version of yourself. Remember, what you recognize, you energize and magnetize. So recognize a greater future so you could energize that future and begin to magnetize that future. Let's grow.